our question was, what are the three key soft skills that managers need the most in our country? So we have so many opinions, but we decided to go for these three. First, we went with giving and acting on feedback. That is, we talk about frequent feedback from managers to their team, and they need to have a good listening skill, being able to ask the right questions and being able to give feedback back to their team. Then the second one is emotional intelligence. Also, then we went for team building, ability for managers to carry their team along and also to help them grow and improve them. And then talked about trying to add frequent communication with their team. It could be through, WhatsApp, having face-to-face meet, general meeting, and always make sure that the team are carried along. Yeah.
Yeah, just to recap, it was giving and receiving feedback, team building, and then emotional intelligence. And I think we've been talking with also other colleagues about that. And last year within HR, we did something about leading from your strengths, and we can share that for in the HR hub, again, links to that, because it's an inexpensive resource, but it's a detailed understanding, that just helps you increase a little bit more self-awareness. And I think that that's really essential for all of us as we also think about equipping our managers. Thank you, Doris. Just moving on to group 4. Who would like to report back? And please read your question to us as well. Group 4 is Linda's group.
Garland, you need to unmute yourself.
Garland.
Yeah. Now, our question was, many organizations are facing fundraising challenges. How can you get more involved in conversations with leadership about the impact of these on staff? So I'm just mentioning the summary of a discussion on our group, and it came out that we should communicate to our organization the present situation and have a dialogue with all the staff members or the key members in a very transparent manner. Present them the situation very clearly, what is the situation, and maybe some kind of a statistics for coming time, depending on the funding position or the income or whatever you say. And we should invite their ideas. What do they think about how to resolve these issues? We can have several options like reduction in working hours, or reduction in compensation, or maybe means voluntary taking a break from the regular service, just to go for some online courses or making some other skill development program or something. But the challenge in this process is that we don't want to reduce those people who are passionate about their work, who are key people, who are very means dedicated to their work. They spend more time than their expectation in their working hours. And if we ask them to reduce their working hours by their own, they will be facing a challenge to this. So that is one issue, but there should be an open dialogue with the staff members. And when we open this dialogue, thing, then what will happen, it will be a very mutually convenient manner. The whole process will go on in a very congenial environment. There won't be any kind of argument or anything. And means if we ask them to go for the free time for kind of a self-training or something, that would be a good idea. Another option was that while we are working online, means most of our stationary cost is saving up now. We are saving up stationary things, and maybe the cost of training, which organization would have spent on the staff. The staff can find out an option online to do this online training through webinar or somewhere, that will be kind of a skill enhancement for the staff for this period, and definitely a skill investment for organization. So that is what means. The summary was that we should have an open dialogue with the transparency with the staff and look for options.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Thank
you. Yeah, I think what you've said also resonates with what we heard from Damaris, where we want to keep our people first, and we also really want to value them. It's the hardest thing to have to let people go. Although sometimes we do recognize that we might need to do that, but then keeping people in that open, transparent dialogue and to just be really honest with the things that the organization is facing, I think sometimes makes the message a little bit easier to take when they know that we've been open and transparent with them. And HR can come with many suggestions, so many practical ideas that we can bring to leadership as well. So thank you for that. From group one, we have Belle. Belle, please, would you share with us on the question one?
Question is what went well in terms of communicating staff during the COVID time. Then we begin with Bangladesh. Suma mentioned that it was a critical moment at the beginning. Then during the lockdown, we try to share information. We keep on informing each other. And I like the thing that she mentioned, that we had a female group chat upon the mental support. We inform each other, update each other to keep our mental well-being, which is good. And Doris from Congo, they planned contingencies and prepared to work in different scenarios, and they were working from home and chat on WhatsApp on different channels and communicate each other, and times they were live and talking about issues. And Ichaya, he mentioned that they're a small team, but was not difficult to update to update each other, to communicate each other. But he mentioned that they were connected, and they took turn. Even if they want to come to the office, they took turn and update things each other every day. And also Ichaya used to share information from government about COVID every day. That was very key. Then the praying is something that he mentioned was very important, praying each other. And from Ethiopia, from our experience, we try to design scenarios and communicating strategies. Then we were always informed, connected, and at times flexible to do things, because we were very close with our partners. We are in times of many other difficult challenges national-wise, in addition to the COVID. So we had to be closer to our partners to prepare proposals and things for COVID response, people affected by leprosy who resides in Addis. So we had to communicate each other on daily basis. And this time, especially this month, we are at the office, and we designed also scenario like the Damaris. We were courageous enough to come up with different scenario in case of this and that. And we had spreadsheets, and we talk about we can cut this, but it's always discussion and understanding each other. Yeah, that worked well for us.
Thank you so much, Belle. Yes, and one of the consensus that we had was also we've got to have that flexibility within HR to be able to adjust. Not one solution for one country works in every country, and to recognize that. But also it ties in with being strategic in the long run. So being strategic, but having the flexibility to be able to change as well, which we thought was really important. Thank you, Belle. And Julia, from your group, who would be representing on question 2?
Melvin.
Thank you, Melvin.
Sorry, I missed the first part. I was able to join the second part because of the connectivity. The question that we discussed in our group is about the communication. I mean, the importance of communication and how we are communicating in our country during this COVID time. So the group members shared their views, not views, what is happening in their country presently, and what are the communication channels that they are practicing. So Geeta from Nepal shared that the communication has to be frequent, and we can use, they use video call, phone call, and chat. And on weekly basis, every week, the leadership also meets and communicates updates on everything that is happening. And Sese said from Myanmar, she said that that they have again a weekly meeting. They give a weekly update. Entire group meets and they update to each other what has happened in every week. Every Friday they do that. And this time they also used for training of safeguarding and some other policy, she said. I missed it. I don't know what. So they use this time for training on various other policies and other things. Then Kavindi from Sri Lanka shared that they call every staff on an everyday basis. I suppose through phone call. I don't know how they call, and they communicate and try to understand whether staff are doing well, whether there is any concern, and then trying to resolve that. And once a week they update the managers. I think all the managers come together once a week and update to each other. We also shared from India that we have actually this COVID time actually helped us to come together virtually and communicate more. And we have our devotion every day doing virtually every day at 9 o'clock. We have a senior leadership everyday meeting at 10 o'clock. And from 11 o'clock onwards, we meet on a domain people and our team as a department wise, and we also meet a unit. The question raised, we are about 900 staff. Are we able to meet? Yes, the HR, I may not be personally able to meet everyone, but to certain level, yes. And likewise, every staff is heard about. And initially the concerns were how to protect or safeguard ourselves from the disease COVID itself. So we addressed by following various measures of having PPE, social distancing, and a lot of counseling, how to protect themselves and how to protect our stakeholders, patients, students, community people. And then the next concern our staff had in terms of communication was because of this economic crisis, there was no work, everything was locked down. It affected our funding. So we had to rework on the budget. So that was a big exercise at a multi-level. And every team has to contribute, and they contributed. That was a big exercise, and there was a multi-level. It happened, a lot of communication happened, and we were able to bring down our budget as a whole by almost about 20%. And it was not an easy task. It is not just looking at a number and then reducing it. So we looked at the program and looking at where we can avoid the spending from the program angle and then reduce the budget. We looked at the recruitments and then we said the future recruitment, do we need to take it immediately? Can we defer? And then thereby we save something. Then even then we could not manage. Then we had to finally, there's a last resort, we had to go back and then cut down the salaries of the staff, which was not an easy exercise. Several rounds of discussion took place at the senior level with various options with the least damage, and then had to take up to the board, discussing with the board, taking them into confidence and taking their approval, going back again to the unit leader and communicating to the staff. And we did exercised it, although it was a very lengthy process. Thank God, it went on very smooth. And yes, there were some concerns for few people. We addressed it, and it was a genuine problem. People were grateful in the sense that at least they did not lose their job. The job security was there. They felt that it is better to take 5 or 10% less than foregoing the job or losing the job or losing the entire salary. And then the issue came, the next concern was whether will we get the salaries in time. Yes, we had a problem, but somehow we managed. Although we could not pay on time, it was delayed by few days and few weeks. There was a communication. It is only because of the communication that we were able to convince people, and we said that it is not a problem for us alone, but it is a universal problem. There was a delay and people were able to understand. So communication did play a very major role, and thanks to technology, we explored the technology. That is what, and if I have missed anything, my group members can please add on and share, please.
Thank you, Melvin. Thank you. And yeah, so I think that conclusion, regardless of how large our countries are and how vast our staff numbers are, communication plays a really big role. Thank you all for sharing and for feeding